Hello, good morning students. Welcome to this video lecture series. This student, as you know, we are dealing with the very first topic, that is the communication. And under communication, we are talking about the art of effective communication. As you know, in the previous video, we had started with art of effective communication. Before that, we talked about types of communication: formal communication, informal communication, then verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Alright, so in this video series, okay, we are talking about communication, what is communication, definition of communication, alright, the process of communication, the types of communication, and then we started art of communication in our previous video. So today's video is going to be in continuation of our previous video. As you know, in the previous video, we started discussing art of effective communication. What are the strategies or the approaches to enhance our communication skills? Alright, or what are the steps that can enhance our communication skill, that can enhance our art of communication? Alright, so in the previous video, we talked about the selection of words. That was the first topic, the point, choosing words. So to enhance art of effective communication, or to make our communication very impressive or effective, one need to be very particular about the diction, the selection of words. Alright, as we discussed and as we had talked on selection of words in a previous video, as I told you that words have the power of creation and destruction. Words have superpower. Words contain superpower within them, and one must use words judiciously, wisely, very diligently. Alright, so our communication reflects, okay, our communication, or we can say the words, our words or the words we use in our communication determines our quality of communication. So if you want to enhance the quality of communication, if you want to make your communication more effective, and if you want to enhance the art of effective communication, then the very first step or the very first stage or the very first initiative is you need to be very particular about the selection of words that we have already discussed in our previous video. Then we had talk on voice modulation. Okay, under voice modulation we talked about the quality of voice, tone, intonation, rhythm, pitch, etc. Alright, so selection of words plays a vital role, but at the same time voice modulation, it is the voice modulation that convinces the people or the audience. Alright, so where you need to be louder, where you need to be softer, all this quality, okay, under voice modulation you understand or you learn, okay, how should be your voice. Alright, you are going, see, the sentence is the same, but the stress or the loudness of the voice determines its sense. I'm going means I'm going, that is simply assertive sentence. I'm going, that is an indirect question. Alright, so that role or that significance is played out by voice modulation. Alright, today the third stage or third step, that is the framing of questions and answers. Alright, so one need to be very particular about framing questions and answers as well. Okay, so the thing is that framing questions and asking questions play a very vital role in communication. Okay, you can get right answer only when you'll ask right question. Unless and until you ask a right question, you will not get the right answer. Alright, so asking question is not very easy. Of course it's very easy, but you need to be very particular. How are you asking? The way you are asking, the way you need the response. Alright, so the very first thing is that while framing question, you need to be very particular. What type of question are you supposed to ask? Okay, or what type of strategy or approach you need to adopt to ask question. Now, what are those approaches or strategies or types of questions? Simply, there are certain types of questions that you can say strategies as well. That is the open questions, closed questions, rhetorical questions. Alright, so these are the types of questions a communicator need to be familiar with. Alright, the way you ask a question, okay, how a respondent supposed to answer determines, okay, the way you ask him or her the question. Alright, so the thing is that a communicator needs to be very particular about asking question. Alright, the question must be precise and clear, at the same time convincing. Got it? So the thing is that today we are going to talk about framing of questions and answers. So as I told you, asking question is at the core of communication or at the heart of communication. If you know how to ask a question, you are a good communicator or your communication is good. So to enhance the art of communication or to make your communication more effective, you must know how to ask a question or when to ask a question. Alright, so framing question is very important and it helps you a lot becoming a good communicator. Alright, so framing of questions and answer, asking the right question is at the heart of effective communication and information exchange. Information exchange is also done through asking question. Alright, so what types of questions are there? How to frame a question? We are going to talk about three major types of questions that we must know during communication. What are those questions? Open questions, closed questions, rhetorical questions. What are open questions? Open questions generally start with WH word. What, where, why, how, etc. Okay, where are you going? Why are you not studying? Why are you struggling? How could you manage? These are open questions. And such questions generally need longer answers. Alright, like tell me about yourself. That is also open question. Describe the situation or describe the whole story in detail. That is also the part of open question. Alright, so these are called open questions. So open questions generally demand longer answers, clarification, explanation, and they generally start with WH word, that is when, what, why, how, etc. Apart from that, tell me, tell us, explain, describe this or that, they are also the part of open questions. Alright, so open question generally require long answers and usually begin with WH words like what, why, how. Like this, what happened at the meeting? What happened at the meeting? Meeting में क्या हुआ? Now you need to tell in detail. You need to answer in detail. Then, why are you not studying? Or why did you do that? तुमने ऐसा क्यों किया? Why do you do that? describe in detail. So these are the open questions. How can you go? How can you manage? When will you go? Okay, where will you going to organize the party? How will you manage the things? All these are open questions. All these are open questions. Alright, so open questions generally demand longer answers, longer clarifications. Alright, then next, closed questions. Closed questions are those questions, okay, which expect very shorter or brief answers, maybe single word or maybe a very small single phrase. Are you interested? The answer is yes or no. Will you join the class? Yes or no. Will you study? Yes or no. Will you help me? Yes or no. Are you mad? Yes or no. So these are closed questions. Alright. So closed questions get shorter answer, and generally their answers are either yes or no. Generally they start with helping verbs, okay, and that's why they are answered in yes or no, and that's why they are called closed questions, because they don't demand longer answer. Okay, they demand answer as brief as possible. Okay, answer could be simply a gesture, a wave, or simply yes or no. That's okay. That is closed question. Alright, whereas open question need open answers, means elaborate answers, whereas closed questions they ask and they expect very shorter answers. Answer could be simply in yes or no, or in a very short phrase. Alright, then the rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions are not really questions at all. Rhetorical questions नहीं होते हैं. Rhetorical questions are generally used, they are statements in phrases, and they are used to create a dramatic effect, to persuade somebody or something. Alright, to prompt somebody in something, to create something. Rhetorical questions are raised. Rhetorical question क्या होता है? See, simple interrogative sentence. Alright, simple interrogative sentences give sense in negative. That is called rhetorical question. For example, if I say, who knows you? आपको कौन जानता है? My meaning is nobody knows you. If I say who knows you, what have you done in your life? तुमने अपनी लाइफ में क्या किया है? मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है, you haven't done anything in your life, कि आपने आपकी लाइफ में कुछ भी नहीं किया है. But I am not saying like this that you haven't done anything in your life. I am saying then what have you done in your life? Like similarly, who knows you? कौन जानता है आपको? Means nobody knows you. If I say who doesn't know Gandhi ji, interrogative plus negative है तो ये positive sense दे रहा है. Who doesn't know Gandhi ji? गांधी जी को कौन नहीं जानता है? Means everybody knows Gandhi ji. That is called rhetorical question. That is rhetorical effect. एक अलग सा effect, एक dramatic effect आता है communication में. Rhetorical question generally they are used in speaking as well as in informal writing, not formal writing. Informal writing में rhetorical questions use होते हैं, और हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ में भी हम rhetorical question यूज़ करते हैं many times. Is it clear? So ये होते हैं rhetorical questions. ये एक इफेक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं, एक ड्रामेटिक इफेक्ट क्रिएट करते हैं, कोई सिचुएशन को क्रिएट करते हैं, परसुएड करते हैं. Alright, so basically rhetorical questions are not question at all. If they are in question form, they give negative sense. If they are question, question form with negative sentence means if they are interrogative plus negative sentence, they give positive sense. Means like, who doesn't know Gandhi ji? Who does not know Gandhi ji? Gandhi ji को कौन नहीं जानता? Means everybody knows Gandhi ji. And who knows you? आपको कौन जानता है? Means nobody knows you. So that is positive sentence, positive interrogative sentence, a simply interrogative sentence that gives us negative sense, whereas interrogative plus negative question gives the positive sense. Alright, so that is the framing of questions. That is the framing of question, and the communicator need to be very, very familiar with this sort of or this type of question framing. Alright, because unless you are familiar with it, you would never be able to make out the sense what the co-speaker or the respondent responding you would never be able to understand it. So framing question, understanding open question, closed question, and rhetoric questions is very, very important. Alright, so see, as I have told you earlier as well, that this topic is very, very easy. This is very practical topic, and it relates to our day-to-day life. Alright, so you as students and communicator need to enhance your communication skill. Get engaged, get involved in communication. Be attentive listener. Yes, the very next step, that is the next stage, that is the fourth one, that is becoming an engaged listener we are going to study. Alright, so as a communicator, you need to be very, very alert. You need to be very, very attentive. Okay, you must open your ears, you must open your eyes. Okay, you must train your tongue. Alright, you must read, you must listen. All these things are going to help a lot. Alright, only then you would be able to become a better communicator. Alright, so this is all for today's video. Thank you very much. See you soon in my next video. Goodbye.